Hey. Hi. Okay, enough of that tomfoolery. My name is Mark. I'm the vocalist for Kardashev and the teacher guy here at Kardashev Academy, and I'm here to talk to you about warm-ups. Now, warm-ups are one of those things that people talk about a lot, and yes, they are very important. In fact, I would call them fundamental. Because they're fun, duh, and you're mental if you don't do them. Also, if you don't like bad jokes, this channel might not be for you. I'm just gonna give you that respect and transparency up front. Okay, but seriously, let's get to work. So first and foremost, let's talk about why warm-ups are important. It's because you have lots of flabby bits in here that are always able to get damaged. Also, it's just gonna make you sound better if you kind of wake your voice up before you jump into what you're trying to do. Now, I don't want to instill a sense of fear in you because vocal damage, as serious as it is and how much you need to be aware of it, is really preventable. Like, as long as you do what you need to do, it's not something you need to be scared about or constantly worrying about or things like that. The next thing I want to talk about is what to expect from your vocal warm-ups. Vocal warm-ups are not going to automatically make you the best vocalist in the world. Finally, they're not going to make you impervious to vocal damage. If you do a good warm-up and then you go to actually record or perform and you deliberately do everything wrong, well, then it's kind of your fault if something bad happens to you. Just being honest. All right, now these first couple pieces I'm going to keep pretty quick because they're really straightforward, quite honestly. But as metal vocalists, one thing that we are really susceptible to doing is putting too much tension in our neck, our shoulder, our jaw, because we're kind of taking our voice and we're pulling it to an extreme. We can be safe with that extreme, but we need to be conscious about how we're doing it. So these first couple things I do are pretty straightforward. Number one, I shrug my shoulders, just like this. Pretty straightforward. I do it until it kind of feels loose, relaxed. If you're like me and you work a desk job and you're on the computer all day typing away, this actually can let you know that there's more tension than you might realize. Number two, I twist, like this. And the reason is all of our muscles are connected. And so if you think that tightness here or tightness in your chest isn't gonna affect your vocal cords, you're wrong, straight up. The next thing I'll do is I will yawn. Now, yawning is where you want to start making sure that you're doing it right for the purpose of singing and screaming. So normal yawning involves us kind of thrusting our jaw down. And if you do that, you're actually probably going to feel some tension in here. So there's a way, oh, my eyes are watering. There's a way that you can yawn actually where it's actually going to remove tension from your neck and your throat and make it a little bit easier on you. So go ahead and do this. I want you to yawn, but I want you to smile like an idiot, like a fool. So you're going to yawn and you're going to imagine that tension going into your cheeks and your eyes. And you should feel that there's no tension down here and all that pressure, for lack of a better word, is getting transferred up here. That's good because it makes sure you're not adding and stretching those muscles more than you need to before you actually start performing or recording. Next, I'll do a little head roll. And then I'll start working on the articulators. And that just involves kind of making some funny faces. There are a lot of parts in Kardashev music where I do high vocals really, really fast, and that actually makes a huge difference in being able to pop my mouth open and closed and articulate all those points very quickly without struggling and it sounding really muddy and glubby and gross. The next thing I do is I do some tongue twisters, and you can really pick any tongue twister that you think is going to work, but it actually is extremely beneficial to get some tongue twisters down. I actually wrote my own, mostly just for fun, but also to kind of start at the front of my mouth and move backwards, and they are as follows. I'll put them in the description below, so if you want to use these, you can. Patty paid Piper purple pennies. Patty paid Piper purple pennies. Wendy wants windy wild weather. Wendy wants windy wild weather. Lenny lent Lonnie Lowell's ladles. Lenny lent Lonnie Lowell's ladles. Tony took Teddy's tiny tiger. Tony took Teddy's tiny tiger. Kenny can't cover Kyle's car. Kenny can't cover Kyle's car. Gavin gave Gus gunky gaskets. Gavin gave Gus gunky gaskets. What a jerk. So those are kind of fun because they start at the front of your mouth patty, patty, and go back to Gavin and kind of move back and forth that way. You don't have to do them in that particular order. I just think it's kind of fun and a goofy way to do it, but really any tongue twisters are going to work for you. The next thing we do is we remind ourselves where the diaphragm is. Now, I'm going to have a separate video all about breathing with your diaphragm because it's kind of a confusing concept for people who are first starting out. So if you haven't watched it, this might be a good time to pause and go check it out. Or if you want to just keep watching through and seeing and see what these warm-ups to engage the diaphragm are all about, be my guest. Here's my belly. Ta-da! So when I start breathing with my diaphragm, what my goal is to remind myself that I need to breathe with my diaphragm and not with my chest. Here's the difference. Chest breathing. You see that a lot in metal vocal videos. They do a lot of that. What you want to be doing is breathing down here. Now, what that's doing is that's expanding your rib cage, which is thus pulling your diaphragm down and pulling air deeper into your lungs. When I make that sound, I imagine getting lemon juice in a paper cut or stepping on a Lego. So sometimes I'll call it a lemon juice breath or a Lego breath. But that's what you do. You know, if you were to step on a Lego or get that lemon juice in your paper cut, you would go, and your ribs would go, wah, and there you go. Now, once I've reminded myself where my diaphragm is, I'll just do a simple held out noise. And I'm not pushing that air out. I'm sort of letting it out naturally. I'm not cramping my ribs closed. I'm not pulling my stomach in. I'm just letting it come out naturally. Like that. And then what I'll do is I'll take that long held out breath and I'll chop it up. So I'll go from legato to staccato. You can throw some other consonants in there if you want. F, T, S, K, really anything that's not voiced. Next, what I'll do is I will take those those lemon juice breaths, and I'll do a scale. Just a simple scale, something that's comfortable for you. I mean, after all, we're screaming, not singing, or maybe you're doing both. Da 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 All right, I got kind of goofy there at the end. Maybe. Now, the last thing I do, and one of the most common mistakes I see other metal vocalists making on YouTube, is that they say to warm up their scream, they will scream. What? You can't go from not screaming right into screaming. You need to find a transitionary point, and that transitionary point is what's going to allow you to go into the scream without slamming everything together and causing damage. So what I do, let's do a high, just kind of vocalize a little bit of and then I slowly turn on the distortion. Now I have a whole nother video to how to add distortion to your high vocals. If you want to watch that, you can pause this and go check this out, or you can watch this and then move on. But if you don't feel comfortable with a high vocal, I would suggest watching this and tucking the knowledge away for later. So here we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. And from there, I'm pretty much ready to go, quite honestly. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing that high vocal distortion add, you can do the same technique with a low. You're only using the minimum amount of air of breath that you need to create that noise, because you'll find that those big screaming noises don't require as much air and as much oomph as you think. You could probably get through a whole set or record a whole album on about half the energy that you're currently expending. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my warm-up video. That's what I do in all of our Kardashev stuff. You can subscribe for more videos, hit the bell because I guess that alerts you. I'll be honest, I don't really know what it does. And I do one-on-one lessons on Skype. If you feel like you need some help, some calibration, I'm happy to do that for you. Even if you've got no experience, we can work on that. Anyways, many thanks, much love, I'm out.